The program is State Affairs. I am Edmund Obilo. Last week, I talked about the architecture of power. I made the point that to dwell in love always and towards all is to live the true life, is to have life itself. There is a story on the front page of the Saturday Tribune. Insecurity. United States threatens to withhold 50% aid to Nigeria. Kidnappers asked our boss to choose who to kill among us if only 20 million naira ransom was paid. After divorce, she became a tenant in my house. Ex-husband tells Ibadan court. I contributed over 3 million naira to build the house. It belongs to both of us, woman replies. Last week, I made the point that there is a famine in the land, not of grain, though the silos groan with emptiness, not of water, though the rivers run low. The famine is of love in leadership. We will resist any attempt to return Oyo to dark days after Makinde. Pensioners speak. Oyo APC leaders adopt Ali as governorship candidate. The details of that story is on page 6 of the Saturday Tribune. So what is leadership? Some would tell you it is control. Some would say strategy. Some would talk about the cold arithmetic of power. But leadership is love made visible. Insecurity. United States threatens to withhold 50% aid to Nigeria. Hello, U.S. Please withhold it. Thank you. Withhold it. Keep it. All right? You've been giving us this aid for years. The more aids we get, the poorer we become. Keep it, okay? Donald, keep the 50%. Now, what do I want to look at this morning? My lesson this morning is entitled The Awakening. The Awakening. It is a story for the struggling. And I want to listen to you. I have come to listen to you this morning. As you listen to me, I will listen to you. I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. So the subject this morning is entitled The Awakening, a story for the struggling. The old man sat under the tree, and the young ones gathered at his feet. Their bellies went empty. Their pockets were hollow. Their eyes carried the weight of a generation that had been promised much and given little. We know the stories. One of them said bitterly, "The leaders stole, the leaders lied, the leaders sold our future for foreign accounts and golden spoons." The old man was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. "There was once a man," the old man began, "who sat in this same spot 40 years ago. His name was Atonda. Atonda's farm had been taken. Atonda's son had been arrested for no crime. Atonda's wife had died because the hospital had no medicine, because the money for medicine had been stolen by men in fine agbadas. Atonda cursed the government. Atonda cursed the soldiers. He cursed his ancestors and his enemies. He cursed the day he was born. Every evening, Atonda drank beer. He reviled the man who had destroyed his life. The old man continues the story. One night, an old woman sat beside Atonda. She said, "Atonda, how long will you give your enemies the powers to decide who you become?" Atonda spat. "They took everything." "No," the woman said. "They took your farm. They took your son. They took your wife. But they did not take your mind." That you gave away yourself. You gave away your mind. Listen. A man only begins to be a man when he ceases to whine and revile and commences to search for the hidden justice which regulates his life. Are you in this class? Hey. For nations to rise, the human spirit must rise. Take this home. It is you that gave away yourself. A man only begins to be a man when he ceases to whine and revile and commences to search for the hidden justice which regulates his life. The woman said that to Atonda. Atonda wanted to argue. But the words of the old woman was lodged in his chest like an arrow. The next morning, Atonda did not drink. He walked to the ruins of his farm. He knelt down. He put his hands in the soil and he began to search. Remember? It is the old man telling the children stories of time. In the story, there is Atonda and there is the old woman. And there are children listening to the old man, the storyteller. So the young ones leaned forward and asked the old man, what did Atonda find in his ruined farm? The old man smiled. Wait. The old man continued his story. Atonda searched for 3 years. He read old books by candlelight. He listened to the traders who passed through the village. He worked to the city and sat outside the law courts, watching and learning. And slowly, Atonda began to see. He noticed that there was a hidden justice after all. I'm not talking about the justice of courts that has been bought. I'm talking about the justice of cause and effect. Are you in this class? Let me know if you're in class. Call the radio station 070-694 93000. I have come to listen to your heartbeat. I can feel it. I have come to hear from you. 070-694 93000. Call the radio station on 070-144 757 70. And slowly, Atonda began to see.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. That's a nice one and a thought-provoking comment. My name is Suleiman Matthew Babatunde. You see, I heard the news yesterday. And when I hear another radio program, and when I heard the responses of our people who claim to be educated, our people who claim that they went to school and school went through them, I was angry and I was ashamed. It's a story about how the first lady took rice, and I think 1.something billion to the north to share. And some people were calling based on ethnicity and began to applaud and began to talk down on people who query that. Now, my question is, if we are going to re-engineer our mind, nepotism should be put aside and the issue should be discussed. Now, what I said to friends, is that the next thing that the, what you call her name now, first lady, should do? You have brought this country into this state by your policy. Now you are bringing rights to me. Are you going to give me that right today, tomorrow, and for the rest of the 4 years that you are going to spend on the position of authority. Or the best thing for you to do is to ensure that the policies you put in place are policies that lift the people up, that increase their purchasing power and all of that. Now, our people now came and began to talk about, oh, in the north, where I was born and lived for almost 30 years, that they don't criticize their people, that they applaud their people, that we should copy that and be applauding our oppressors in this country. And that's why I said the topic today is thought-provoking, that we are the architects of our problems because we have allowed religiosity and we have allowed nepotism in terms of tribalism to shape our thinking and contribution to the policy and politics of this country. And that is going to perpetuate hardship on this country, God forbid.
Thank you.
If we don't change, Edmond, there's need for us to look at another angle of things.
Thank
Look
you.
at our mind, re-engineer
Thank
our
you.
mind.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Edmond, can you give me just
Thank
1
you.
minute? I want to say.
Thank you. And slowly, Atonda began to see. He began to see that there was a hidden justice after all. Not the justice, of course, that has been bought, but the justice of cause and effect. The lines are open. Once I begin to say thank you, Randolph. Okay? I want to hear from you. Atonda began to see that a nation rots when its people learn helplessness. Good morning.
Good morning, the great Edmond Obilo. I'm very, very happy to be in the class of Edmond Obilo of Politics and Power. My name is Olamilekan Ademarati. Mr. Edmond, today's topic is reawakening. I was just reflecting the situation of the country. How do we get here? It is quite unfortunate that if you look back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and you compare it to today, it's just like we are still in yesterday. Nothing has changed. The same story, the same topic. And the question is, how are we going to get out of this quagmire? So, Mr. Edmond, I think it is right time. The people that love this country should wake up. Something needs to be done. They say that we practice democracy. And democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is quite unfortunate that we are living in a country whereby some group of people, so far you are not alive with them, they begin to castigate you. They want to destroy your business. They want to destroy your career because you are not aligned with their thought. They want to force their own opinion on every one of us, and which I think it is against the democracy we pretend to be practicing.
Thank you.
Lastly, Mr. Edmond, I want to say this, Mr. Edmond, your friend, you know your friend, who is your guy. Your friend has disappointed a lot of us. He's put all the land in your face. He plunged Oyo State into the depths. Billions of dollars has been borrowed without nothing to show for it. Your friend refused to allow local government to work. Everybody that are using Trunk C Road cannot take your car to your home again. Please talk to your friend. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. When Atonda understood, something shifted inside him. Yes. He saw that a nation rots when its people learn helplessness. Atonda saw that corruption thrives when the good people look away. Atonda saw that the leader is not the curse, the leader is the symptom. The disease is in the spirit of the people who have forgotten their own power. The leader is not the curse. The leader is the symptom. The disease is in the spirit of the people who have forgotten their own power. When Atonda understood this, something shifted inside him. He ceased to accuse others as the curse of his condition. He stopped saying, the government did this. He began to ask, what have I done? What can I do? When Atonda understood, something shifted inside him. He ceased to accuse others as the curse of his condition. He stopped saying, the government did this. He began to ask, what have I done? What can I do? Atonda built himself up in strong and noble thoughts. He began to change his thinking. Atonda began to read the lives of great men and women. Atonda began to study how Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah had built schools when they were none, not by waiting for permission, but by gathering villagers to lay bricks with their own hands. Atonda began to study how Kenya's Wangari Maathai had seen a deforested land and instead of cursing the loggers, had begun planting trees, one seedling, one woman, one village at a time. Atonda began to study Tanzania's Julius Nyerere. How Julius taught his people. Education is not a gift from the government. Take note. Are you there? Education is not a gift from the people. From government. Education is a fire you will light in yourself. Education is a fire you would light in yourself. It is your dream that decides your direction. Education is a fire you light in yourself. To light that fire in yourself is to rise. For nations to rise, you must light that fire in yourself. Atunda stopped kicking against circumstances. He stopped raging at the rain for falling. He began to use the rain to grow his garden. The lines are open. Call the radio station. 07069493000.
Hello?
Good morning.
Top of the morning to you, Edmund, and to everyone that is sound of my voice this morning. My name is Omo Bashon. I'm the city boy. You see, to me, this country, I said something last week that no one can solve the problem he or she does not really understand. I think we in Nigeria, do we really understand our problem? I can say yes, I can say no. But 80% of Nigeria does not really understand the problem on ground. And that is why we keep finding ourselves in this mess of bad governance. So to me as a person, I don't like anything in position. So you understand. I mean, to me as a person, consensus is not Democrat. So you understand. Let the people go on field. Let the members, let them choose their leaders. It's not like that. This is not Democrat. We let the people talk. You can't silence the people, silence the first leg of the people. No, it's not done. So to me, it's not done. And that's why we keep finding ourselves in this mess of bad governance. We don't continue to impose people on the people. No, it's not done. Take for example now, we are using the same presidential system of government with America. America is still progressing day by day. What's wrong with Nigeria, for God's sake? We are human beings like America. It is only our mentality and reasoning that differ.
Thank you.
Do you understand? How can we get it right now? Please, I'm appealing to all Nigerians. There is another chance for us. Let us go and get our PVC and try to flush out these people out of the system of politics, please.
Thank you.
You can't continue like this. Edmund, thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Kayode Akinola. Mr. Edmund, I'm in class today, and I'm loving what I'm listening to. But however, I'd like to reflect on some of your phrases when you say Nigeria need to choose the leader they want to follow. The set of leaders we have now, they are the likes of the leaders Chief Tola Adeni described as plutocrats. They combine plutocracy and oligarchy. So please, if Nigeria truly deserves to have a best set of leaders, if they desire to have them, they need to change their mindset. I miss the likes of my past classmates like the Reverend Koyeladele, Abdul Salam from Coca-Cola, and I heard in the course of the week that we lost Barrister Ejiruka. I don't know how far that is true.
It's true.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Edward. Well done.
Thank you. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. Stay tuned.
State Affairs with Edmond Nobilo is live. Stay tuned.
Yeah, so this is
elections during the Third Republic, elections organized by the Ibrahim Babangida military administration?
Well, I recall very clearly that it was one of my classmates in primary school that I just walked into my law office and said, Akin, they are trying to get a candidate, for the House of Assembly election. And I've suggested your name to the community, to the ward, and to the local government. I didn't have a desire to contest any election. But then I considered what Shegun told me. And I then read around the subject. The major attraction for me was that Babangida originally conceived of House of Assembly sittings to be part-time. In other words, if you are going to the House of Assembly, you are supposed to keep your job and then go to sit in the House of Assembly as part-time. That was the original concept. And I thought that, well, that doesn't hurt. I can go to court in the morning, a lawyer that I am, and then thereafter go to the house to sit. It was in course of development after the election that the whole idea of part-time sitting was jettisoned and it became a full-time. But really, my attraction to it was the concept of it being a part-time engagement rather than a full-time, calling.
And what informed your choice of political party?
Well, SDP, NRC were the only two political parties that existed at that time.
And these were government-established parties?
They were government-established parties. But then, there was some ideological slant, to membership that are drawn to the SDP. They tend to be more progressive in terms of their manifesto, what they canvassed, to members of the public. The NRC tended to be more conservative, in terms of what they canvassed. So, my own understanding of what the country needed was along the lines of progressive ideology.
What is progressivism in this case?
In this case, a political party that makes as a central concern the development, especially educational development of the community. Then the care of the rural community in terms of productivity and in terms of health. Those were the key concerns of SDP at that particular time. And that was why I was more attracted, to. As a matter of fact, it was an awkward choice for me coming from Ogbomoso, because traditionally, Ogbomosos tend to vote conservative. As a matter of fact, I was the only member of the House of Assembly from the Ogbomoso zone out of the 10 of us that was elected. All the others were NRC.
Can you trace that to the Akintola influence?
Well, that's a very complex phenomenon, but it is not unrelated. It's not unrelated because most of those other constituents and their leaders were of the Akintola, political tradition.
Do we still have the image of Samuel Akintola overwhelmingly present in Ogbomoso land?
That influence can never be eradicated. It will always be there. The only thing that I know is that a lot of progress, a lot of enlightenment had since come into play in terms of political choices that people make. And I do not see the dichotomy between Akintola, Awolowo making any serious impact in the future choices that people make in that political space. No. I think people are already outgrowing, all of those sentiments.
I haven't picked the SDP, Social Democratic Party, as your party, how did you now go about winning the party's ticket? Did you have to grease palms?
Well, the electorate at that time too had no choice. It's either you choose A or you choose B. All right? And the economic demand on candidates was not anything near what we have today. I was just a young lawyer. I have a very young practice. I could not have afforded the kind of money that people invest in political, contest today during that particular time. And nobody made the kind of mindless demand. My form I bought for myself. It was not any political leader that bought form, and that is true of most of us that went to the House of Assembly, whether in NRC or SDP. It was cheap, it was affordable to get your application form. Nobody among the political leaders in both parties were making demands on any one of us, to be able to contest. If you were able to convince the constituents that you are a better candidate, people voted for you.
Can you link that to the influence of the military? Because the military was still in charge.
The military was still in charge. And I do not see a nexus, seriously, between the military being in charge. It was just that at that time, the understanding of people about politics and political participation was not money driven. It wasn't. If it was money driven, there were people that had money than many of us that I had members of the House of Assembly that were bachelors, people that just left university, people that just left colleges of education. If it was money,
The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmund Obilo. Look at this. I want you to follow this story because I've been monitoring the story since last week. It is about what is going on in Mali. I want to read from the BBC. Let me take the 2 paragraphs of this story in the BBC. And it's entitled, "What Next for Mali's Military Leaders After Shock of Rebel Offensive?" The BBC says it is hard to overstate the sense of shock reverberating across West Africa after attackers in a coordinated assault managed to enter Mali's capital, Bamako, assassinate the defense minister, and seize control of northern areas. The bottom line of this story is that the so-called terrorists are making it clear that they now want power in West Africa. In the case of Mali, it is about the separatist Azawad Liberation Front and the Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM. The Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM is already within the periphery of the Malian capital, Bamako. If the stories coming is anything to go by. If Russia is not strong enough to back the Malian government, these guys in the next 2 weeks will take over Mali. They are already in the capital. And if they are able to take down Mali, they will now take Burkina Faso. It is clear now that they want power. They want to govern. Does this teach you any lesson? That if they succeed in Mali and Burkina Faso, they will move into Niger, because they are already there in those countries. They've already captured territories. From Niger to where? So go and look at the map. When was the last time you looked at the map? Many of us don't look at the maps. Look at the map of Africa. Then you can also search for the map of West Africa. So you see the danger of what is going on. I just said I should remind you of that. The lesson of the day is entitled The Awakening, the story for the struggling. And on this edition of the program, I want to hear from you as you hear from me. It is about Atunda, and it's about the old man telling the story. The old man paused. A young woman in the crowd raised her hand. "Old one," she said, "you speak of men, but what of women? We are held down twice by poor leaders and by traditions that silence us." The old man nodded slowly. "Young lady, you remind me of Fumilayo Ransom Kuti." The young ones murmured. They knew the name. She was a woman, the old man said. A woman whose husband was a renowned teacher. She could have sat in comfort. Instead, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti saw women in Abeokuta being taxed by the colonial government. Taxed without representation. Taxed without mercy. Taxed while their children went hungry. She did not whine. She did not revile from a distance. What did Fumilayo do? She organized. She gathered thousands of women. Fumilayo gathered market women. She spoke to teachers. She spoke to farmers. She called on grandmothers to wake up. She gathered them. She taught them. And she led them to the palace of the Alake. They sat down. They refused to move. They sang. They wept. They demanded. The colonial government arrested her. She did not stop. No. She adapted her mind to the hidden justice. Power yields when the people become ungovernable in their love for justice. Are you there? Take this home. Power yields when the people become ungovernable in their love for justice. Take it home. Power yields when the people become ungovernable in their love for justice. Before long, the colonial masters abolished taxation in Abeokuta. The Alake was deposed, and Fumilayo Ransom Kuti became a warning to every oppressor. Do not mistake patience for weakness. Do not mistake silence for acceptance. But listen, the old man said, leaning forward. Listen to what the old man told the children. The most important part of the story is this: Fumilayo did not wait for a perfect leader to save her. She became the leader. She ceased to accuse others. She built herself up. She used her circumstances, even the prison walls, to discover the hidden powers within herself. And those powers, when she exerted it, shook the kingdom. It is the power of her mind. The awakening. The lines are open. Let me hear from you. 070 694 930 00 070 144 75770.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm happy.
All right, I can hear you. All right, let's let that caller go.
I said that I am a guy hard fan of you.
Okay.
So, Mr. Edmond, please step up to talk about what happened in South, about the poor boys that were they blood away by the officer. So, I want to talk about it, please. Thank you.
You talk about it. You have the opportunity. Talk about it. You have a story. That's why I opened the line for you. You talk about it. Don't wait for we to talk about it. Hello, good morning.
Please, Edmond, please, this is wrong place.
What happened there?
Hello, Edmond.
Good morning.
It's a old man. Sulaiman, anytime you talk about Fumilayo, my mind reflects that Adoni. Then we talk about it now too. You see, the warning Adoni Oluwole gave Nigerians, the messages he was sending to Nigerians, was that Nigeria was not about for independence. That was in the 50s, around 60, 57, 58. Adoni Oluwole told Nigerians, and she even demonstrated with wearing prison clothes around the bottom on horseback, that many of you will be jailed. All those people who were the political leaders then, including our Adegoke Adelabu from Ibadan, were calling her Adoni Oluwole. What this woman pursued then happened with Nigeria, and it's still happening with us today.
Adeko Kailabu died of a motor accident. Tafawa Balewa, the most, I can say the most godly one among them, was killed by soldiers. Ogoni was killed by soldiers. Our own papa, the Papa went to prison. Imagine that. And look at what has been happening to Nigerians since then. And we are asking God to rescue us. Let all of us reflect on this. We have women activists today, but as they are struggling, they have not been able to grab power. Can we continue to pray for women? Look, Edmond, there is a woman in the mortuary in Ibadan today. Her name is something that I don't know her initial. She is in the mortuary today, and I talked to her. I knew her from our cabinet in the lawyer. Our cabinet gave her title. We used to meet together. At the time, she was participating in politics, and this woman is now dying as a pauper. She called herself Obvious. Nobody has been able to come out from Obvious family to identify her. You see, well, there's one woman talking to go to our assembly in Mayo here. From Milayo Obvious, from the Obvious. You see, the boys working with her were the one helping this woman.
Thank you.
They helped her to get a house. It is in this house that the one died, and the committee members of that area are the ones who are the problem.
Thank you.
And they went to the police, went here and there, and by the time the one that the police there should carry her to the mortuary. Nobody has identified from even from all the family.
Thank you. The lines are open. Call the radio station. There is another story. The old man said. And this story is from a land far away, but the lesson is the same. The lines are open.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This K is I just read through what you read in the newspaper about the guerrillas, the militants trying to take over some of the African countries. It's very scary. Politicians are having a few days forgetting that it's a time bomb in their backyard. But what astonished me or amazes me is that this country that you mentioned, our military, they are governed by the military. So there's fire on the mountain. Because if it was a civilian government, we know it's game over. But where the military government is trying to control militants in, and they are coming in to grab power. Nigeria is still sleeping. The giant of Africa is in slumber. Time is ticking. If people say we want the military to take over, it wouldn't still change anything. But what I think is a fundamental problem is that ECOWAS cannot stand again. We have different blocks. ECOWAS should have stood with ECOMOG to fight these menace. But unfortunately, the house divided cannot stand. And so we watch as we see and witness the Sahel go into oblivion. May God help us. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. Thank you. 070-694-93000. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Obilo. We thank God for a person like you in Nigeria. You know, it's just like I knew you were going to discuss this morning. I was at a place to buy a tire yesterday, And the boys there were telling me, Mommy, Ebi Wandu, Ebi Mpanya. I say, shut up your mouth. Where are the farmers? Where are the farmers' children? None of you are found in the farm again. You are roaming the street and you say, Ebi Mpanya, Opekebito Panyipa. Put anything behind your house, it will germinate within the next 3 days. None of you want to work. All you want is government money. You become talks to the politicians. You become talks to people who have money. You are saying Ranka did around the town without raising an arm. And you are doing it, you are going into Yahoo, Yahoo, Yahoo. What are you doing about your future? The country belongs to you and you are not doing anything about it. You are worshiping those who are destroying your future. And you are not making any effort. So that's just like a thunder story you have just said. Even the so-called Boko Haram, they prefer now to go and recruit in the Boko Haram. A Fulani lady was saying, my husband does not do what I gave. We now do kidnapping. Every Nigerian, every black man wants an easy money. The orientation is bad from the beginning. And it is due to lack of education in some parts of this country. The earlier the government, rises up, the better. But also we have to do something urgent now about the future because the future holds no hope for this country. Thank you, Mr. Bello. God bless you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open. I have come to hear from you. There is another story the old man said. A story from a land far away, but the lesson is the same. The old man continues. A man named Viktor Frankl was captured by the most evil regime the world has ever seen. He was stripped of his name, his family, his freedom. He was given a number tattooed on his arm. He slept on woody boards. He watched men die of hunger and despair. Most around him whined. They reviled their captors. They gave up. They lay down and waited for death. But Frankl did something strange. He began to search for the hidden justice. He observed that the men who survived were not the strongest. They were the ones who still chose their attitude. He wrote in his mind. He recited poetry. He imagined lecturing to students after the war about what he had learned. He wrote later, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose is one attitude in any given circumstance. Take that home. Frankl wrote in his mind. He recited poetry in his mind. While the others in the prison were waiting to die, he was dreaming of how he would lecture students about the war and the circumstances he experienced. He later wrote that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, and that thing is the last of human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given circumstances. Listen. Frankl was captured by the evil regime. He was stripped of his name. He was stripped of his family. He was stripped of his freedom. He was given a number tattooed on his arm. He slept on woody boards. He watched men die of hunger and despair. Most around him whined. They reviled their captors. They gave up. They lay down and waited for death. But Frank did something strange. He began to search for the hidden justice. He observed that the men who survived were not the strongest. They were the ones who still chose their attitude. He wrote in his mind. He recited poetry. He imagined telling his stories to the world after the war. He ceased to accuse the gods as the cause of his condition. Not because the gods were innocent, they were monsters, but because blaming them gave away his only remaining power. He ceased to accuse the gods as the cause of his condition. Not because the gods were innocent, they were monsters, but because blaming the gods gave away his only remaining power. He built himself up in strong and noble thoughts. He used the camp as a means of discovering the hidden powers within himself. And he survived. And he wrote a book that has lifted millions. Remember? The circumstances did not change. The camp was still here. But Frank changed. And in changing himself, he changed the world for everyone who came after. Are you there? The radio man is here. It is state affairs, a class of politics and power. For nations to rise, the human spirit must rise. Say hello to the radio man.
Hello, Edmond.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is Suleiman. You see, I would like to respond to mommy that called the other day. She made a very good observation. However, what I want to say is that Nigerians, most of us, are not waiting for the government to give us fish, but rather to teach us how to fish by creating an enabling environment, such as security. Now, you have to go to farm. As I'm calling you, Edmond, I am in my garden. I have corn in my garden. I'm working in there right now as I'm calling you. I have corn in my garden. I have cocoyam. I have planted tomatoes. And this morning I'm planting okra. So let you know that Nigerians are lazy. The people that call themselves who are the shadow of governance at the center had a man that they actually project to be the one they follow. That is the lazy. In 1955, that man gave this region free education that put the Yoruba race in terms of education above every other tribe, not only in Nigeria but across Africa. That is what we wanted from our leaders. We want them to always give us this. Like the example I cited the other time, what we're giving right to people for everlasting, rather than creating enabling environment for people to begin to produce their own rights. So for those who are saying the youth are lazy, why it is the monster that the leaders have created that makes some of them to be wasting away that way. If the leaders have done, the right thing, like they enjoying in this country, They enjoy free education and scholarship that build them to be a leader that they are today. They climb the stairs and remove the staircase for all Nigerians to be finding their room to get to the top. And that's why I said the other time that until we kill this sense of tribalism and religion in choosing our leaders, then we get it right. And like you said, until again, that we also are conscious of being involved in politics and policy of Nigeria. Many of us will say, especially the religionists, they say, oh, politics is dirty. But they stay back, allowing the dirty people to take control of their affairs. I want to encourage that we should all come out, be involved in this, either belong to a political party or be an active voter in order to change the policy. If that is not done, and if we continue with, it is my Yoruba man, it is my Igbo man, an Hausa man, then we continue to recycle failed politicians. Every day I spend my money to inform and educate our people. So please stop this nepotism. They don't know us, even though we are of the same tribe. We have inconsequential to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edmond. Good morning.
Look at this. Everybody in leadership today is from a family. They were once babies that were brought up by their mothers and fathers. Think about it. The Yahoo boys we complain about is from a family. How come the family is now producing fraudsters? The governor you are not happy about has a mommy and a daddy. The mother of the Yahoo boy prays for her son that God should continue to bless her son. What else do you want her to say? The family. How come the family is producing fraudsters, poor leaders? What is your family going to produce in 10 years? What will your children be? Okay, to get to their turn. So as you point finger at that man, be looking at your family. What are you teaching your children? Because to get to their turn to govern. Parental responsibility. Think about it. The lines are open.
Hello. Hello. Good morning, Edmond.
Good morning.
I want to talk on the politics in Oyo State. My name is Victor. So, Nigeria politics is becoming somehow like a mystery, in the sense that a political party that somebody like the current Minister of Power is contesting. I mean, Chief Adilabo, and then we have Teslim Olari, and then they come about imposing a figure on that party. So I don't understand. So a very fair. There should be everybody on the particular party must be given a fair, a kind of fair treatment. So they should not impose any, so that everybody can have choice to make. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Adeleke Thank you, Mr. Edmond, for opening the platform for us to talk. First of all, I would like to say that your story of Atanda's situation is fictional, but it is a reality that we all find ourselves. But my question to all of us is that, does Atanda have an alternative? Does Atanda have an option? In a situation whereby Atanda has lost all his fortunes, but you said the only thing that remains for Atanda is his mind to choose who leads him in 2027. But in a situation whereby the leaders we have, the clueless ones, visionless ones, and the selfish ones, have bastardized this educational system in Nigeria, will Atanda's mind will not be bought by rice or by a token to choose a leader who will crash his life after 2027. Now, with the situation we have in Nigeria is that we have political parties who are more interested in who will win elections for them. And that makes them to go for candidates who can pay the party leaders the highest token they collect, and they trade out the lives and the fortune of Atanda. Now, Atanda's mind is now left to choose whether he will go for the candidate from a popular party who may, in the end, choose to seize the life of Atanda after 27, or go for a candidate, if there is an option in 2027, that will definitely pilot the life of Atanda to continue. So like you said, it is our choice, because we are all Atanda. We are in that situation that William Shakespeare said. We are on such a footstool. And if we omit this situation, our lives are bound in shallows and misery. And we can cease to exist if it will be our turn after 2027. We should decide right. That is my take, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open. The radio man is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Edmond. This is Kola from Apata, Ibadan. On the issue on ground, we as Nigeria, we keep rolling, moving, same straight line. And then we think we can get to the Since Obasanjo left power, we keep condemning our leader. Why we have never checked on ourselves as a follower. I do ask a question. The leadership we are talking today, where did they come from? People abuse police. They abuse immigration. Said our army are not good. Where did the army, the police, and those who work in the ministry taking bribe and do the wrong thing come from? Simple street lights, control traffic lights. We as a citizen, we disobey at our will, and we expect them to walk the right way. No how matter you as a leader or a father done to a kid. If the kid is, the Yoruba call it omege, that's a kid that will always go astray. No amount of directive you give, even if they are the most intelligent, and if the kid is not ready to abide and take that route, it will always get lost. The same thing we did to Jonathan. We professed Baba Buhari As the best there, we brought him in. We see how the economy was run. It took us to up to 30 years back. Now, Jagaban, as they call it. I don't fall in love with him, but I only fall in love with the system and the way he runs the country. We all say is bad. Things that we could have done in the past. Obasanjo just started it when he sold all the refinery and he gave it to some people. We, the citizens, were what he sold it to his cronies, his friend. And I asked one of my friends, if you are in power and you want good thing for yourself and your people, will you give it to your enemy? It's difficult to answer that question. When Yar'Adua came in, he reversed all those things. And we clap for him there. He's the best. Whereas we keep our Saturday to next year. As I came in, they tried to do the things. We do the same thing. Now we are doing it to Jagaban. Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open. We want to hear from you. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Edmond. I'm Edmond. We all know the situation in Nigeria. From the top to the bottom. We know that our leaders are not what they see. Whatever happens, they came from us. Number two, the followers are just like the leaders. Corruption is rising every day. Among us, among our leaders. So, who is going to see ahead the change? When it appears everything is upside down, who is going to bail us out of this problem? We are fond of saying, this is what we should do. This is what we will do. Who are these we that we are referring when virtually everything is corrupt? From the top to the bottom. Is it the judiciary? Is it the soldiers? Is it the police? Or the university lecturers? If everywhere is this polluted, where will the change come from? I think we need divine intervention. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. After this break, I will bring in Bishop Matthew Kuka. He will walk us down memory lane about the Ogoni crisis so that we always remember. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned, stay cool.
When I was Speaker of Oyo State, was to encourage many of my members to improve their education. Many of them started their degree programs as sitting members of the House. Those of them that have degrees, some of them started some other programs, MBA, LLB, masters in some arts, philosophy and so on, as sitting. That was how young and how, ordinary membership of the House, was at that time. I wouldn't credit that, to the military. It was just a question of the quality and the choices which people in the house at that particular time were making.
What were the ideals that you were going to achieve as a member of the House of Assembly? What was in your head? Why were you going there?
Well, let me just say that I consider myself particularly lucky because I got into the House of Assembly with a reasonable level of liberal education. And I understood that the only reason why I had that opportunity of contesting, winning, and providing leadership was because despite my poor parenthood, education gave me a platform. And so I encouraged at the level of the house decisions, that are based on the best interests of the society. And I must say that we were not in the pocket of the executive.
Kolapo Ishola was the governor.
Chief Kolapo Ishola was the governor. And in fairness to him, very many times he tolerated our refusal, to go the way of the executive. There have been times when we completely disagreed, with Chief Kolapo Ishola, and he never vilified us. One classical example was when the House of Assembly lost the clerk, one Mr. Folabi. Mr. Folabi died as the clerk of the house. And some people were going to meet Chief Kolapo Ishola. They wanted to be clerk of the house. But members of the house decided that clerk of the house was a staff of the house, not a staff of the executive. We chose Mr. Oyolaki to become the clerk of the house without an input of the executive. Those were monumental decisions, that the house, I don't know how many houses can take those type of decisions today without approval, from the executive arm. And that also affected very many policy programs of the Kolapo Ishola administration. There have been times when we took loan, international loan for water development as a jure, and we insisted that that money must be spent on all the water works in Oyo State and not only on the water works in Ibadan. Of course, we live in Ibadan. We want Ibadan to have the best of facility, but Ibadan is not Oyo State. There are other places, that are Oyo State that need it. If all of us are going to pay the debt, the benefit should also inure in favor of every part of. That was a house that was able to put his feet down.
And the governor did not resist that.
The governor did not. There were always arguments, but there were caucuses where we meet, we argue, and the governor never vilified any one of us.
Kolapo Ishola was SDP.
He was SDP.
And the leadership of the house was SDP.
Was SDP.
Yet you could stamp your feet on the ground.
Absolutely. And he tolerated us.
Did you go to the house with the ambition to be the speaker?
Well, like I said, the attraction that I had to the House of Assembly was that it was going to be part-time. So the whole idea of becoming speaker was not part of my reckoning at all. In any event, I could not say how many people will be in the house, what political parties they will belong to. It was something which I could not have envisaged. But it turned out that only myself and my brother and friend, Chief Adeniyi Akintola, presently a senior advocate of Nigeria too, were the only lawyers in the house. And the party decided that I should be speaker and he should be deputy speaker. That was how it happened. It was in consideration of the fact that we are the only two lawyers. And the thinking was that lawyers will run the house better. That was what informed our choice.
And both of you are now senior advocates of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Did the House of Assembly throw you guys up?
No. Niyi Akintola has always been a very brilliant lawyer. He became senior advocate of Nigeria before me. But hard work, industry on the part of, it doesn't have anything to do with the parameters for becoming a SAN does not have anything to do with the house. It is that you meet the requirement of becoming senior advocate, and if God grants you speed, then you become senior advocate.
But certainly that position made Akinonigbe more influential.
How is that?
You became more politically influential.
Well, I don't see it as influence. There are two different platforms. Two different platforms. After House of Assembly, you go to your chambers and do your work. And if you set, a standard for yourself, a goal for yourself, you work towards it and you achieve it. That's the way I look at it.
What spurred you to contest elections during the Third Republic, elections organized by the Ibrahim Babangida military administration?
Well, I recall very clearly that it was one of my classmates in primary school that I just walked into my law office and said, Akin, they are trying to get a candidate, for the House of Assembly election. And I've suggested your name to the community, to the ward, and to the local government. I didn't have a desire to contest any election. But then I considered what Shegun told me. And I then read around the subject. The major attraction for me was that Babangida originally conceived of House of Assembly sittings to be part-time. In other words, if you are going to the House of Assembly, you are supposed to keep your job and then go to sit in the House of Assembly as part-time. That was the original concept. And I thought that, well, that doesn't hurt. I can go to court in the morning, a lawyer that I am, and then thereafter go to the house to sit. It was in course of development after the election that the whole idea of part-time sitting was jettisoned and it became a full-time. But really, my attraction to it was the concept of it being a part-time engagement rather than a full-time, calling.
And what informed your choice of political party?
Well, SDP, NRC were the only two political parties that existed at that time.
And these were government-established parties?
They were government-established parties. But then, there was some ideological slant, to membership that are drawn to the SDP. They tend to be more progressive in terms of their manifesto, what they canvassed, to members of the public. The NRC tended to be more conservative, in terms of what they canvassed. So, my own understanding of what the country needed was along the lines of progressive ideology.
What is progressivism in this case?
In this case, a political party that makes as a central concern the development, especially educational development of the community. Then the care of the rural community in terms of productivity and in terms of health. Those were the key concerns of SDP at that particular time. And that was why I was more attracted, to. As a matter of fact, it was an awkward choice for me coming from Ogbomoso, because traditionally, Ogbomoso
live.
In the book, it seemed at a point you became sympathetic to Dauda Komo and Okuntimo. You said Komo and Okuntimo are most vilified. You use the word vilified. Why did you choose that word?
It is not, and this is why I learned a lot of lessons, in my work with the Oputa panel. Because you also learn not to take things at face value. Because I felt during the Oputa panel, there were certain people that I felt that if I saw them, for me, there was almost a moment of madness in me that I would either not talk to them, if I permit the expression, I would strangle them if I saw them. That was how angry I felt about people like Okuntimo. Dauda Kumo was somebody, I didn't know him that closely. But when Dauda Kumo came before Oputa panel and told us his own side of the story, and when Okuntimo came and told us his own side of the story, and the things that he himself did, it ran, in very many respects, counter to some of the allegations that have been made against them. They were not angels, but they were not normal times either. And I remember that when we had some really very interesting cases. For example, when one of the girls, they were accusing Okuntimo of rape and so on and so forth. When the girl was brought, and they asked her, they said, look, he said a soldier raped her, and that, so they now asked, and that day there was no light. But when Okuntimo came, Okuntimo said at that point there was no NEPA in the village. So the issue of NEPA having, as we say in Nigeria, taking light did not arise. And they asked the girl, how did this soldier rape you? He said, well, he was holding a gun and a torchlight. And I remember Mrs. Pam, the female member of our panel, saying, my dear, I'm a woman. For a man to rape you, he will require to have at least one hand free. So this guy could not have been holding his gun and holding a torchlight and raping you at the same time. When some of these people came to present their evidence, it was clear either they had not been fully prepared or they didn't have a story to tell. And I remember one interesting incident. I think the picture is in my book.
Yeah.
When one lady appeared, and when she started speaking, one of the Ogoni activists actually started saying to her in Ogoni, it is time to start crying now. It is time to start crying now. Now, I don't speak the language. But when we came out of that session, the guy cornered me and said, look, Father, these people are fake. I'm an Ogoni man. I understand the language. This is what this guy was saying to this woman. Now, I'm not saying these things did not exist, but it's just like every other thing, like most of the stories you hear now in Nigeria, there is truth behind them. But when they tell you that somebody stole 500 million or whatever, fine, it is actually true that he may have stolen 500 million. But you wait until those people climb the stand to defend themselves, and then you will know whether they chopped alone or they chopped with other people.
I want you to be categorical here. Do you feel or do you think that Mr. Nasikbo, the one who spent some time in cell D1, do you feel he lied?
I'm not sure. The evidence speaks for itself.
You were quite diplomatic in stating it in the book.
I didn't want to be offensive.
But what do you think today? Did he lie?
Two things. The first, we went to cell D. What is it?
D1.
We went to cell D1. I remember the drama in Port Harcourt. We were sitting and just hearing this story. All of a sudden, from nowhere, Justice Oputa stood up and said to me, he said, get up. I said, where are we going? He said, get up. I said, where are we going? He said, we're going to the prison. I said, Papa, we have not prepared. He said, just get up, let's go. I couldn't believe it. We all got up because throughout the sitting of Oputa panel, Justice Oputa never stood up one single day from beginning of the sitting to the end. That was the first time. So we got up, there was so much confusion. He said, we're going to the prison. Now, we all got into our vehicles, and Justice Oputa, as always, insisted that I should ride with him. So when we entered the car, I said, Papa, what is happening? He said, don't worry, let's go. We want, surprise is the best. We are going for a locus in quo, that is the place in which this thing happened. We arrived at the prison, nobody was expecting us. They opened up the prison. Justice Oputa introduced us, and we said, this is what we came for. This is what we came for. So we entered the prison. He said, we want to see cell D1. So the man took us to the cell. First of all, we want to see where Ken was hung. So we went. The man showed us the place and showed us the slab. Then we turned round and went to cell D1. If you go to cell D1, from what we saw, has no windows. The only thing cell D1 had was slashes at the top. Even slashes in a way and manner that even if you climbed up and looked, you can't see, you can only see down. Okay? And from there, we climbed the place. There was no way you could get a view of the hanging place. You couldn't see it. So, and this young man said this is where he was, and that he stood there, and that he heard Ken Saro-Wiwa utter these words. Now, please, no matter how exceptionally brilliant somebody may be, how could somebody stand there and listen to the words of a man who is about to be hung and memorize all that speech? And secondly, what kind of a brain, what kind of an emotional state are you in that you are watching somebody who is going to be hung and you are not so emotionally destabilized, but you are still able to listen and memorize his final words?
So he lied.
I didn't say he lied. I'm just telling you the facts. You make up your mind.
How did you feel when you walked into the gallows where Ken Saro-Wiwa was killed?
You know, initially I didn't want to enter the place. I really didn't. And I really, the emotions, I just had to manage to control my emotions. The man was trying to describe all the things for us, but I just couldn't, I didn't pay attention to what he was saying, because he was talking about, you know, what they normally would do. They take you here, they do this also, and so this is where the hanging takes place. So I went through the motions, but really, my emotions they were really overpowering. I couldn't. So it's not something I want to remember, really.
Did Dauda Kumo tell the commission where they were buried?
Who?
Dauda Kumo.
Well, let me tell you an interesting story and what got me into trouble. They were buried as it would happen in a military regime, in unmarked graves. It took the generosity of General Abdul Salam's government to respond to the appeal that the remains be given back to the families. That was done. Now, when that happened, I was so excited because, like I said, I was emotionally connected to the struggle. I then wrote an article for Newswatch magazine commending the federal government for helping the families of the Ogoni, of Ken and his other colleagues, to bring to closure, at least at some level, the fact that they had the remains of their people. So I thought the General Abdul Salam government had done extraordinarily well. You couldn't bring back life, but nothing can be more painful than knowing that your loved one has been buried somewhere in these 923,000 square kilometers of land called Nigeria, and you can't figure out where. Now, interestingly, it was that article that got me into trouble, because that was the article that the family of the Ogoni 4 took and used to say that I was commending the federal government because Ken was my friend. Incidentally, and quite interestingly, when the Ogoni 4 came to the Oputa panel, their memo was titled "The Killing and Consumption of the Ogoni 4." And when Dauda Kumo came, Dauda Kumo actually, rather interestingly, told us a very passionate story of what he himself did, because Okuntimo rushed to the scene of the crime. And until that time, all of us, including myself, I remember the gory photographs in Newswatch and other magazines, showing very clearly that these people were killed, their remains put in a Volkswagen vehicle and burnt. Okuntimo said that he actually got there, and all he found on the scene was the jaw of one of the Ogoni 4. The rest of the body, nobody knew where they vanished to, including their bones.
Okuntimo told me that he felt their bodies were consumed by the cannibals
in
Nikop.
That is why the family referred to, they named their petition, the killing and consumption of Ogoni 4.
Did you believe at the time that Nikop members would consume the body of their kinsmen?
I am not a forensic expert, and I really didn't have the liberty. That was really is way out of my control. But let me say, when you have these moments of tragedy, you know, when you have these tragic situations, unless you have what Delegiwa used to refer to as a diabolical sense of humor, it's very difficult to even go back trying to process all those things. So it was not something that I was prepared to pay attention to. But if I were an Ogoni man, you know, it's something that I would like to follow through, because somehow memory has a way of being shaped by circumstances. It might be possible that you can find, and this doesn't have to be the responsibility of the state, you can find primary sources from people who participated in this crime, who can actually say what happened.
I'm discussing with the author of the book, Witness to Justice, Bishop Matthew Kuka.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Speaking with Bishop Matthew Kuka, the author of the book, Witness to Justice. Taking us back into time, the Ogoni crisis. What caused the crisis? What led to the death of the Ogoni 4 elders? And later, the death of the Ogoni 9, including Ken Saro-Wiwa. It's a subject of history. It's a subject of power and politics. It's a subject about the people. I brought you that interview so that you don't forget where we are coming from. It is the awakening. For nations to rise, the human spirit must rise. It is the awakening. The human spirit must rise. Atunda, Frank, what do you think? Call the radio station 070-694-930-00 or 070-144-757-70. Good morning.
Hello, Regiment.
Good morning.
This is Albese Charles. I would say that for justice, for us to have justice in the state, must be just.
Yeah. That was poor, the connection. Good morning. Haven't told the story of Atunda. Good morning. Are you there? Okay.
Good morning to you, Mr. Edmond.
Good morning.
This is Lawal M.A. calling from Onala, your former friend. I listened to your program this morning, and I will go in 2 ways. One will be academic, the other will be satirical. In 2014, prior to the 2015 election, which former President Jonathan Goodluck lost, there was a survey about the literacy level of Nigerians. 13.76% of Nigerians are literate in any form. Either you attended Quranic school, missionary school, or conventional school. A country with less number of educated minds will never progress in such climate. That is the problem with Nigeria. Let me now go to theaters. Many of the films that I've watched, in which one of your theme songs was taken from Game of Thrones, you will admit, if you reflect on it, it emphasizes how a country will grow when its citizens are well educated. One of such is a film about the Spartans. They have a system of education which is called Ogoni. Even if you watch the one that is recent, The Last Samurai, it was talking about Japanese way of life, which is embedded in traditional education and culture. It is quite unfortunate we have lost our education in this realm. I would not like to go on, but I'm trying to emphasize the rot in the system as a result of our educational system that was founded on force, deceit, and lies. Let me just okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The lines are open.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
God bless you.
Please turn down the volume of your radio.
Okay. I was wondering why people are not, contributing to that statement concerning the parenthood in this country.
Please turn down the volume of your radio.
In a situation whereby you have parents encouraging Yahoo, whereby you have parents forming association of Yahoo parents, backing their children for nefarious activities. In a situation whereby you have parents begging school proprietors and proprietresses to allow cheating in external examination. In a situation where parents are more interested in the immediate attitude, immediate success of the children without thinking of the future of the whole nation as a whole. In a situation where you have parents conniving with their own children to deceive fathers, especially we mothers, we are all guilty. We have come short of the glory of God. It is only in God have mercy of this country that you can be rescued. We have destroyed the future. We are talking of the old. The new generation is the worst for it all. They have created problems that generation yet unborn may not find it easy to solve. We really have to sit up. The parents have to be educated. We cannot continue to concentrate on the society without knowing at the home, like you said. You raised the point. I was expecting people to contribute because that is the bane of contention for this problem in the country. Parents are no longer doing the job. If a 3-year-old with a 5-year-old can now bring out the fan of their mother to sell to Gausa, to sell to Mala for 100 naira, you can know where we're going. And you must imagine where we're coming from. In a situation where Siblings can connive to sell their own brother or sister for money or kidnap them to I mean, I don't know. We are really lost. The parents are to be addressed. Schools are to be focused upon. Nation have to be built on the future, not on the present generation. Politicians are the present generation. They are not the old generation. Let them stop. Let the generation stop deceiving themselves. They keep on saying the old. What are they doing about their own say about themselves? They are lazy. In a situation where you have children still rely upon their parents because of their laziness, we are all at it, including me, including I speaking. I'm also at fault. Too much love for children have destroyed this nation. We have to sit up. Thank you, my dear brother, Mr. B.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm liking her voice, becoming a consistent voice. I've been looking for that consistent female voice. It excites me when I hear her voice. Righteousness exalts a nation. What you sow, you reap. The lines are open. Good morning.
Hello, Edmond. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is I just want to lend my voice this morning concerning the contributions of many of us. We are blaming ourselves. I want to say at times wrongly, because when you go back to 60s, 70s, even up to early 80s, all these societal decay did not exist. I will not say outrightly it did not exist, but it wasn't as spread as it is now. And then we need to look inside. What is causing all these atrocities? Is it not from the leadership? But when you talk of Yahoo, you have somebody who have a master. I'm not justifying them. I don't know how they handle it. I don't have any of them as friends or as they sound. But when you talk of Yahoo, it wasn't like this in those days. When you graduated, you get job. And now we still blame ourselves that we study this science, we study this social science, we study Yoruba, we study that we're supposed to go on what is it called now? We study science mainly. We are blaming ourselves from all these things. But are they things in reality? No! There was a time when Obasanjo was doing this media chat as the president. He was bragging on radio that people should study the agriculture, study this, study science. And that's luckily this guy called from Ondo State. And he said that he studied science, his wife studied science. They couldn't secure any job anywhere, either through their science or through in the school. They were managing in one secondary school, private. They paid their peanuts. Obasanjo just said it, he said the CV. How many CV will you collect on radio like that? So we deceive ourselves too much. We don't create jobs. The government is not creating jobs. We centralize on this money for petroleum and other things and divide among our politicians. So how do we blame ourselves on these things? You don't create jobs. These people will use their brains to do anything to fetch them money. And that is it. And we are blaming the parents. The parents too. Are the parents actually the parents? The parents who cannot secure any good job. You want him or her to stay at home to be lecturing or to be tutoring one child. And people, this life somehow is chaos. Very chaotic. So we have to redress it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, J.K. Olashukun. Thank you. The lines are open. Call the radio station. It is Splash 105.5 FM. The Integrity Station.
Hello, good morning, Edmond.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm enjoying your program. It's brilliant. I am Olashupo of Ale Padam from Ibadan here.
Can you
I
turn down the volume of your radio?
Okay, let me switch it up. I will switch it up now.
That's taking too long. I'm going to send you out.
Yes, you switch up.
All right.
You switch up now. Edmond, you are doing a very good work. But I want us to revisit one thing in this country. All this Boko Haram wala, I believe we should return to status quo. Regional government. That will solve the problem. Let the Hausa take care of themselves. We in the South will take care of ourselves. I think that's the best solution. That's the best solution. Edmond, have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station.
Thank you.
The lines are open. I have come to listen to you. Good morning. Good morning, O Nation.
Hello, Edmund.
Baba.
I observed this morning that they want to hear as much as possible from us. You say, I just want to give you a privileged information. Last week, you opened up with me on a better on our federal constituency. That Honorable General I told you was the pioneer honorable for that constituency. Today is gone. Honorable General died yesterday. You see, it saddens my mind. You see, I will not have time to talk about Honorable General, but see, let me just tell you this way. See, we have two types of politicians, mostly in our state here. We have the progressives and we have the non-progressives. In our Honorable General is the leader of the progressives, and by virtue of our pioneer federal representative, next to him is Honorable Fawole, because he was the majority leader in our state assembly here. By virtue of that, he is next to Honorable General. So I am using this medium to let people know think twice, because anything we do today will become history. I have not seen anybody come out to challenge what I told you about that constituency. I have not seen anybody. And look, it is the gospel truth.
Thank you.
And it's the gospel truth. How can a constituency meant for two local governments be dominated by one? I remember I told you our people in Nigeria, they are very good people. They will continue to say, take this thing to Onara. It is the son of Onara. They will tell you.
Thank you.
But because some people want to,
Baba, you've made your point. Thank you. The gathering. Bishop Kuka gave us his definition of what happened in Ogoni land. But this voice you are about to hear explains it in his own way. It is the story of time. It is about late Brigadier General Paul Okuntimo, retired. He was the face of the military power in one of the most turbulent chapters of Nigeria's history. During the iron-fisted rule of General Sani Abacha in the mid-1990s, Okuntimo was appointed the head of the Rivers State Internal Security Task Force. His mission on paper was to restore order. In reality, his forces occupied Ogoni land with overwhelming military might, tanks, soldiers, and a climate of fear. It was under Okuntimo's watch that the movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, MOSOP, led by the internationally renowned writer and activist Ken Saro-Wiwa, was systematically crushed. Okuntimo's task force was accused of arson. Okuntimo's task force was accused of arson, extrajudicial killings, and the destruction of entire villages. His name remains synonymous with the tragedy that followed: the arrest, trial, and eventual hanging of Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni leaders in 1995, an act that shocked the world. I'm bringing you this story so that you do not forget. Paul Okuntimo on State Affairs. Let me take you back to one of your statements.
Yes.
You admitted that Shell contributed to the logistics through financial support. To do that, we needed resources, and Shell provided this.
Not me.
You didn't say that.
It is a quotations of propaganda against my personality.
You didn't tell journalists.
I was always against Shell for what they are, for what they had been, and I always represent Ogoni's interests when it comes to defending the dehumanization of their land, of their people, of their daughters, of their sons.
So are you saying that Shell did not sponsor the Nigerian army to
Shell
invade Ogoni
did
land?
not give one kobo. Shell did not give a vehicle. Shell did not say thank you to anybody. Do you know what Shell used to tell me? Shell will tell you that the federal government owns 60% of the Shell's operation in Nigeria, and that the federal government is defending the interest of that particular share percentage that they own. That they are not defending the interest of Shell. They are defending the interest of what they own in what Shell is operating. And they did not do anything that was appreciable to me as a person and to my own, to my men.
And it was reported that you drove in a Shell truck and you came to a public square in Ogoni land where you shot a young man dead.
Wait, what is the name of that place?
But did you do that?
What is the name of the place that we drove to?
In the Ogoni village of Korokoro. Okuntimo stormed the village in his usual malevolent and frenzied manner in a Shell's vehicle and personally shot dead Paul Udebari Nna. Gibbs Nna, his elder brother, just collected compensation which Shell paid at the United States District Court in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah, what was my own defense there as a person? What was my own side of the story?
So what is your side of the story?
Is it now that they have already paid somebody for a compensation that I will now be telling you the side of the story?
But what do you have to say about this?
I have to tell you that this is just part of the black propaganda that they have put forward in order for them to be able to earn compensation, which they have already gotten. I am an admired officer by my colleague, by my contemporary, by way and manner that I put my own operation and I come out successfully in all wars that I have fought. I have been into 5 operations. I have never failed. I have been to more than 15 battles and I have not failed. I have come out with commendations here and there. And then why is it that in Ogoni that is just the simplest operation that anybody now will come and then be pointing a finger that is rotting it against my efficient self?
Did you believe at that time, and do you still believe that Ken Saro-Wiwa knew what happened to the 4 elders of Ogoni land, including Edward Kobani?
You see, we have to follow this. We have to follow the scenario. You know, the face of the killing of 4 was the last chapter of Ogoni crisis. Before then, it was restoring of law and order. Can you understand? And during the process of trying to restore law and order, there was a division among the elders, among the leaders of Ogonis. Some of the leaders wanted dialogue peacefully to resolve the crisis. The side of Ken could not longer wait. They say Cell must not come to Ogoni for any operation. And the youth were engineered to make sure that not one of Cell's staff was there. And apart from that, there were some people that were badge saboteur in Ogoni land themselves. Maybe you didn't know. And there were some personalities that were targeted and they were eliminated. The houses of the first class chief were burnt off. It was rampage. They sent police out. They destroyed their barracks. They looted their armory. And they sealed off Ogoni land from anybody to come except there is a written note from Ken giving you permission to enter Ogoni land. I entered Ogoni land and make sure that there was no roadblock to stop anybody from passing from Port Harcourt to Akwa Ibom.
Who killed the 4 elders?
The 4 elders
yes.
was killed by the Nikos.
Were they sent by Ken?
They were recruited by Ken.
Were they recruited, or NICOP was an organization on its own?
Does it just germinate like seed?
Were they not sons of Ogoni land?
Even if they were, because of the class of their age, because of their formative stage, because of their inability to be able to reason like you and myself, because they lack intellectual engineering. You see, they are easily motivated negatively.
Were they vultures, the elders? Were they sharing money at different times?
I don't know.
The youth went to the palace believing that they were sharing money at that point in time that they got from Shell and from the Nigerian government.
Are you saying the mother at Gyoko?
Yes.
No. That interpretations and presentation is wrong.
What were the elders doing in the palace at that time?
They were called by Bidimini Gokana to celebrate the appointment of one of Ogoni's sons as commissioners. And they equally want to address some situation on the ground so as to end the feud that engulfed the entire Ogoni land. So they call all the elders.
So their intentions were misread.
By who?
By those who invaded the palace.
No, they only took advantage of coming together to hit on them. The purpose of the meeting is different from what they met on the ground. Even though somebody like Bade will not attend, somebody like Kobade will not attend, because Kobade, Letton, Bade, Birabi, and so many of them, they know the role that Ken is playing, and they are never friends. They were never friends.
What was the role that Ken was playing?
He usurped the power of the leadership of Mossop and kick off all those that were before all those that were before him.
For the interest of the Ogoni people or for self-interest?
He has self-interest also.
But he was also fighting for the people.
If he was fighting for the people, then he wouldn't have done some few things that he did in intention. He has some selfish motives.
These were the crimes you accused Ken and his group of committing. You said, one, they deposed legal traditional rulers and installed new ones. Mm-hmm. That they refused to allow local government chairmen to carry out their jobs.
Exactly.
That they set up their own law enforcement and security agencies.
Exactly so.
That they set up their own judicial processes.
Exactly so.
That they invented the term vulture as a means of dealing with the enemy.
It's a code, yes.
They introduced cannibalism.
Exactly.
When you say cannibalism, how do you mean?
I don't want to go into that now.
Why not tell us?
No, cannibalism is a simple definition that anybody can go into dictionary and get out the meaning.
Did you say they were eating men and women?
I don't want to go into that.
Okay, let me remind you of what you said in the Okuta panel.
Yes.
You said on that fateful day, I went around Gyoku village for a rescue mission without success. The following day, May 2nd, the search continued until reliable information took us to the spot where the Ogoni 4 were butchered and roasted for consumption. Butchered and roasted for consumption.
Yes,
Is that the cannibalism you're talking about?
No. Just continue. You have not finished.
It was me that picked the bits and pieces of the bone thrown away together.
Exactly.
Which I brought to the government house
And
in a bag.
Yes, exactly. That's true.
You sure they consumed the body of the 4 elders?
Well, what I saw was what I gathered together. What I gathered together was what I took into the bag. And what I took into the bag is what I took straight.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5. Yes.
As a matter of fact, I was the only member of the House of Assembly from the Ogbomoso zone out of the 10 of us that was elected. All the others were NRC.
Can you trace that to the Akintola influence?
Well, that's a very complex phenomenon, but it is not unrelated. It's not unrelated because most of those other constituents and their leaders were of the Akintola, political tradition.
Do we still have the image of Samuel Akintola overwhelmingly present in the Ogbomoso land?
That influence can never be eradicated. It will always be there. The only thing that I know is that a lot of progress, a lot of enlightenment had since come into play in terms of political choices that people make. And I do not see the dichotomy between Akintola, Awolowo making any serious impact in the future choices that people make in that political space. No. I think people are already outgrowing, all of those sentiments.
I haven't picked the SDP, Social Democratic Party, as your party. How did you now go about winning the party's ticket? Did you have to grease palms?
Well, the electorate at that time too had no choice. It's either you choose A or you choose B. All right? And the economic demand on candidates was not anything near what we have today. I was just a young lawyer. I have a very young practice. I could not have afforded the kind of money that people invest in political, contest today during that particular time. And nobody made the kind of mindless demand. My form I bought for myself. It was not any political leader that bought form, and that is true of most of us that went to the House of Assembly, whether in NRC or SDP. It was cheap, it was affordable to get your application form. Nobody among the political leaders in both parties were making demands on any one of us, to be able to contest. If you were able to convince the constituents that you are a better candidate, people voted for you.
Can you link that to the influence of the military? Because the military was still in charge.
The military was still in charge. And I do not see a nexus, seriously, between the military being in charge. It was just that at that time, the understanding of people about politics and political participation was not money driven. It wasn't. If it was money driven, there were people that had money than many of us that I had members of the House of Assembly that were bachelors, people that just left university, people that just left colleges of education. If it was money, those people would never have had an opportunity. I remember very well that one of the things that I did when I was Speaker of Oyo State was to encourage many of my members to improve their education. Many of them started their degree programs as sitting members of the House. Those of them that have degrees, some of them started some other programs, MBA, LLB, masters in some arts, philosophy and so on, as sitting. That was how young and how, ordinary membership of the House, was at that time. I wouldn't credit that, to the military. It was just a question of the quality and the choices which people in the House at that particular time were making.
What were the ideals that you were going to achieve as a member of the House of Assembly? What was in your head? Why were you going there?
Well, let me just say that I consider myself particularly lucky because I got into the House of Assembly with a reasonable level of liberal education. And I understood that the only reason why I had that opportunity of contesting, winning, and providing leadership was because despite my poor parenthood, education gave me a platform. And so I encouraged at the level of the House decisions, that are based on the best interests of the society. And I must say that we were not in the pocket of the executive.
Kolakpo Ishola was the governor.
Chief Kolakpo Ishola was the governor. And in fairness to him, very many times he tolerated our refusal, to go the way of the executive. There have been times when we completely disagreed, with Chief Kolakpo Ishola, and he never vilified us. One classical example was when the House of Assembly lost the clerk, one Mr. Folabi. Mr. Folabi died as the clerk of the House. And some people were going to meet Chief Kolakpo Ishola. They wanted to be clerk of the House. But members of the House decided that clerk of the House was a staff of the House, not a staff of the executive. We chose Mr. Oyolaki to become the clerk of the House without an input of the executive. Those were monumental decisions, that the House, I don't know how many houses can take those type of decisions today without approval, from the executive arm. And that also affected very many policy programs of the Kolakpo Ishola administration. There have been times when we took loan, international loan for water development as a jure, and we insisted that that money must be spent on all the water works in Oyo State and not only on the water works in Ibadan. Of course, we live in Ibadan. We want Ibadan to have the best of facility, but Ibadan is not Oyo State. There are other places, that are Oyo State that need it. If all of us are going to pay the debt, the benefit should also inure in favor of every part of. That was a house that was able to put his feet down.
And the governor did not resist that.
The governor did not. There were always arguments, but there were caucuses where we meet, we argue, and the governor never vilified any one of us.
Kolakpo Ishola was SDP.
It was SDP.
And the leadership of the House was SDP.
It was SDP.
Yet you could stamp your feet on the ground.
Absolutely. And he tolerated us.
Did you go to the House with the ambition to be the Speaker?
Well, like I said, the attraction that I had to the House of Assembly was that it was going to be part-time. So the whole idea of becoming Speaker was not part of my reckoning at all. In any event, I could not.
Hey, hey. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. You listen to Paul Okuntimo there. I had that interview with him in 2013. Paul Okuntimo is no more. It's about time. It's about places. It's about the future. The subject of today's class, the awakening, a story for the struggling. Atunda is in this story, and Frank from a distant land is in this story. The old man is telling the story, and the young ones are listening. So the old man stood up. The young ones rose with him. You want a leader? He asked. Look in a mirror. The leader you seek is the one you must become. Take that home. The leader you seek is the one you must become. If you want a good leader, you must be good. It is that goodness you will sow, and you will reap good leader. If you are full of the same errors, you cannot get the good leader, because those errors will push you towards the leader that you don't want. The leader you seek is the one you must become. So the leaders we have are the functions of our making. That is why a people deserve the leaders they have. The old man continues. I'm not telling you that your leaders are not bad. They are. I'm not telling you that your circumstances are not hard. They are. I am telling you that whining and reviling will never fill a single belly. Whining and reviling will never fill a single belly. They have never built a single school. They have never buried a single tyrant. Whining, crying have never built a single school. Lamenting at home have never buried a single tyrant. But strong and noble thoughts, these have moved mountains. The man who ceases to accuse and begins to build, he is the one who lifts a nation. Take that home. The man who ceases to accuse and begins to build, he is the one who lifts a nation. Look at Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. He inherited a nation so poor that even the flies looked thin. Thomas Sankara inherited a nation so poor that even the flies looked thin. He did not whine about colonialism. He did not revile the wealthy nations. He said, let us dare to invent the future. Let us dare to invent the future. So when you look at the future, what do you see as you're listening to me? If what you are seeing is doom, chaos, that is what your mind will continue to produce. Mind you, you have to see to invent. You continue to see doom and you resign your faith to doom, doom you will get. Remember, you must see to invent. If you continue to see bandits and then resign to fate, bandits will get closer. Sankara said, let us dare to invent the future. He taught his people to plant trees, to vaccinate their children, to reject foreign aid that came with chains. Foreign aids that come with chains. They give you this and they chain you down. In 4 years, Thomas Sankara lifted literacy, health, and dignity in Burkina Faso. The rich killed him because he loved his people too much. But his example still burns. They used his friend to get him. His friend was Blaise Compaoré, an army officer too. They were good friends. His friend killed him. Blaise Compaoré knew what happened to Thomas Sankara. Call it a coup. And he governed Burkina Faso for about 27 years. Burkina Faso is about to be taken over by jihadis. They are getting closer. They are around the periphery of Bamako. If the military doesn't wake up in Mali in the next 2 weeks, the jihadis will take over Mali and they will move into Burkina Faso. They are already in Burkina Faso. I mean, they will now move for the government house. Some of you would ask, what happened to Russia? You know, Russia negotiated with the jihadis last week, and they abandoned territory, and the jihadis occupied the area. When you look up to foreign powers to save you, take example from what is going to Mali. Are you still praying for Donald Trump to come? May your prayers be answered. People who play the victims don't win. People who beg for power don't get it. I was talking to somebody. He said, but they will not allow the intellectuals to take over. I said, power is not given. It is taken. You are sitting there waiting for somebody to come and give you power. Dream on. You fight for it. It is taken, and you run with it. The lines are open. Call the radio station. 070 rather 070-694-93000. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edmond.
Are you there?
Hello? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Make your point.
Isola is my name. I'm calling from Limetu. I just want, first and foremost, I want to say kudos to you for the good presentation of the program. Your program is both educative and enlightening. Please, I want to know what is the reason why did they kill Ken Sarua? What was the offense level against him? Please.
Did you listen to the interview? Hello. I won't have to go back because those two interviews should answer those questions. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning again, Edmund. It's Olashupo from Akubo. For the death of Ken Sarua, many and the likes of when you talk of Mama Vasa and all these things, they are kin, they are similar. They are the actions of the states. When you talk of a despotic leader, and that was what happened during the Abacha regime. He was a very good example of a despot. Whatever they wanted, they plot around it and present it as if it is real. The one you interviewed that you say has gone now, everybody will die. Probably maybe they have seen themselves with the cancer and others up there. I don't know. Because in life after death, I can't say. But what I can say is that what you do here, we always portray your families. They said there was a time Abacha called all the kings, the Ezes, the Obas in Yoruba land, what do they call the Sultan, all of them summoned them to Ibadan in his preparation to transform to a civilian rule. And what happened in that meeting? Because I was in the hotel then, nothing except to share brown envelopes to these kings. The second meeting was held in Abuja for the same Obas, all of them. They went there again. There one very huge Oba, I've forgotten his town or city now, died in hotel in Abuja then. So that was the practice. And they tried to look. So many people came from the outside. They came to beg Abacha about Ken Saro-Wiwa. They refused. The similar thing, they came to beg Babangida for Mama Vasa. They all refused. There is a ploy. They are despotic leaders. So, and they will always build stories around it to make it real. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, J.K. Olashupo. The lines are open. Good morning.
This is Kingsley. I'm calling from Bashono. You see, what I have discovered is that Nigeria will always put leaders that are allied, both in uniform and in mockery. They rule with iron fist. I will not agree that Nigeria will deserve the leaders we deserve. So, the pity that keep fighting this whole set of politicians. I believe that 2027 will get it right. If you refuse to get it right, you continue to live life. But one thing is certain, whatever man does, we outlive him or her. So let's live and do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. Let me hear your voice. Good morning.
Hello, Edmond. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you there? This is Chief Edmond, you know that when you kill, or anyone that kill,
you also have to die. You cannot kill and go scot-free. You must also follow the dead as a dead person. But here in Nigeria, we pardon those who kill and let them go free. Saruwa killed. So the revenge have come back to him. So he cannot resist from dying. Do you know how many people that died under that man through sabotage and order during the war? The cup have already full. So nobody should give any support. Babangida to Mama Vasa. The Babangida just went and killed Abasa for no reason. It's a attempted coup. And they know the law. So nobody should blame anybody. Whatever someone saw, must read. That is my own contribution.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. The lines are open. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Edmonds, I am talking again because the lines are open. Look, there is one question I want you to put to Nigerians. Was Nigeria right for independence by the time we got it? The reason why you should put that question is this. Why is it that those who fought frantically for independence of Nigeria did not die well, as predicted by Adonai Luwole? About from Awolowo went to prison before he died. Nnamdi Azikiwe died. In fact, I can say he's the only one who died through of that prediction. But look at what is happening today. Was Nigeria right for independence by the time we got it? Thank you. God bless you. Let everybody ruminate over that.
Thank you, Chief Bolariwa. Thank you. The lines are open. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. The sun was setting now. The tree cast long shadows. The old man looked at each young face and said to them, "You will be tempted to wait for the perfect election, to wait for the Messiah to descend, to wait for the ancestors to intervene. But I tell you, the only intervention is the intervention of your own awakened will." The old man continues, "Stop whining, start building. If the roads are bad, fix them. If the schools have no books, bring one book and pass it around. If the leaders are deaf, I'll let you express it. Call the radio station." Good morning. Here. He calls the radio station. "Police killed my 2 sons. Only God can console me." Mom of slain Delta artist. You find that headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper. "Police killed my 2 sons. Only God can console me." What will you say to such a mother? Will you say, be consoled? It's only time that will heal her. That is, if she will be healed. I can't say more than this. Should we say that she reaped what she sowed? You know, sometimes you feel you are not guilty. But check yourself. Look at your actions. It doesn't mean everybody's guilty. There are many Nigerians who don't deserve to be going through what they are going through. But if a nation is going through hardship, majority of the citizens have the same character as their leaders. You know why? The character of the leadership at every time is the dominant character of the state. Those in leadership did not fall from heaven. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. They come from our families. We clap for them. You see the crowd around them. Where are the crowds from? They are from our families. You share from the loot in your own way, but you justify it on the basis of suffering. It is your choice, but you will reap what you have sown. If it is your tribal sentiment that says, no, he's from my tribe, so I will vote for him, whether he's good or bad, I wish you well. Chibola the one is saying Onara, not Egbeda. If somebody from Egbeda is more brilliant and sharper, and because the other man is from Onara and you are from Onara, you choose him, you will reap what you have sown. It is your choice. I wish you well. I'll take the last call. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edmond. It is Lawan again from Manara. I want to respond quickly to what Baba said from Onara about the chances of Onara in the quest for Onara Egbeda Federal Constituency. Just like what you have said, power is not given freely. I am challenging all capable, credible, and competent Onara sons and daughters that want to fight for federal constituency elections to come out now. Ghana is not so stupid that they will relinquish that position to Onara easily. And it was not stated in the constitution that if you have a joint federal constituency, you can be sharing it. You can rotate it. It is not stated. If you know you want the good of that federal constituency, you have to fight for it. You have to.
Thank you. Thank you. That's our last caller. When enough of you change, the hidden justice of the universe will shift. The river of history will turn. When enough of you change, the hidden justice of the universe will shift. The river of history will turn. And they will write of you as I now write of Atonda, of Fumilayo, of Frank, of Sankara. Mind you, it's not everyone that rises that goes to prison or that is killed. More live to achieve their dreams. They rose. They saw the darkness and they were sad, but they lit their own fire. And by that fire, they led the people home. The young ones stood in silence looking at the old man. Then one by one, they began to walk back to their homes. But their steps were different now. Heavier with resolve, lighter with hope. And the old man sat down again under the tree, watching the stars emerge one by one. Each one a small light, pushing back the dark. He who has ears, let him hear. I am Edmondo Pillow. Next week is another time. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The next program is Bangbala Shatta with Abiodun Adewale. Stay tuned. Stay cool.